At Ixigo, we actually took this on offense. We hired more people during the pandemic. We actually did not let go anyone in our team. We did not have any funding for almost 5 years. We were bootstrapped for almost 5 years till we raised our Series A round. We did some contrarian things during difficult times, but we never lost track of serving our customers. We made very early investments in tech and AI, and that's the reason why we had a very solid foundation for it. For this era, we were quite prepared for it.
Welcome to TICE. Today I have with me Mr. Aloke Bajpai. He is the co-founder and CEO of Ixigo, a well-known travel platform which is now at the forefront of AI and technology as well. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
So to begin with our conversation, I will, quickly take you back to your entrepreneurial days. So how was it? How did you really decide to get into entrepreneurship?
So actually, me and my co-founder, we were both working in Europe for a travel tech company. In fact, we both are wingmates from IIT Kanpur, and post that worked for Amadeus in Europe. And when we were thinking about what do we want to do next in life, right? We wanted to come back to India and do something meaningful for the country, right? I mean, this was around the same time when the movie Swades had come out, so in 2005. So I think that was another trigger point for us. But moved back to India in 2006, and we looked at the travel tech market here. And basically, there were new low-cost carriers coming up. There were online travel agencies that had started to emerge and raise their first rounds. In that environment, we said, we want to place a bet on being a travel tech company that focuses on customer experience and uses technology and AI to solve meaningful problems. So that's how we started back in 2007. We launched, and it's been a fantastic run. We've been there for 17 years now, and just had a public listing this year as well.
Now, cut to present, we are in a totally different era. AI, technology, everything is, everything is buzzing the industry. So how do you see this difference, and how you personally transition from, a non-tech era to a highly tech-driven era?
I think as a company, we've always been at the forefront of this, and we had preempted this era many years ago. So back in 2012-13, we started working on the first ML and AI models in our company, when we started predicting whether a train waitlisted ticket would confirm or not using an ML model on past PNR status behavior. And then we used a model to predict the accurate train running status based on location from our own users. On flights, we launched something called fare prediction back then, which was again a kind of predictive ML model built in the early days. In 2017, we had built already an AI chatbot which started answering a lot of our customer support queries. It's called Tara. Last year, it handled almost 89% of our customer support queries end to end. So we made very early investments in tech and AI, and that's the reason why we had a very solid foundation for it. For this era, we were quite prepared for it, and it started to flow into our revenue growth, and it kept our operating leverage high. So helped us a lot in becoming profitable. In fact, we are a team size of just less than 500 people, and we've grown to more than 10,000 crores of gross ticketing value that we sold last year. So in that sense, I think technology has been the key driver for our growth while preserving operating leverage.
If we, rewind a few years back, pandemic changed everything, especially for the travel industry. So how do you see pre-pandemic and post-pandemic industry, and what are the changes that you have experienced?
See, the pandemic was an inflection point for us, right? So when the lockdown arrived, most of the travel companies, they cut back on employees and they reduced all their cost, and they went into a corner and just waited for things to open up. But at Ixigo, we actually took this on offense. We hired more people during the pandemic. We actually did not let go anyone in our team. Most people took salary cuts, and we gave them ESOPs during that time, kept everybody intact. And we doubled down on things like refunds and serving our customers during that time, because people were in a panic, right? At that time, their tickets were getting cancelled. They didn't know whether they would get their money back. And we also invented this new feature that today is a very important driver of our growth, Ixigo Assured, which gives you full money back the moment you cancel. These are all the things that we did during that lockdown. And post that, during the first wave, second wave, we actually acquired 2 companies and we raised money. And on the other side of the pandemic, we were filing for IPO. So I think we played offense when everybody was playing defense. And that has made a huge difference, because last year our revenue was 6 times of our pre-COVID revenue. The fastest growing OTA in the country in post-pandemic era. The only reason we were able to do that was because we did some contrarian things during difficult times, but we never lost track of serving our customers. I'll give you a small anecdote. There was one particular weekend where our payment gateways were running out of money to refund back to our customers. Our team pooled in money to refund our customers, and then when we got the money back from airline, we gave it back to the team. So we have taken extreme steps to become more customer friendly during the pandemic, and I think that rub off has come as a result of that karma that we built during the pandemic, right? And people are coming back in, telling all their friends and family about Ixigo and Confirm Ticket and Abhibas, our brands. So I think that has really helped. The pandemic for us was a game changer. It changed the stack rank of OTAs in the country. We became the second largest OTA, coming out of nowhere. We were not even an OTA before the pandemic, and here we are, the fastest growing and the second largest one.
So you highlighted how Ixigo has adapted to the technology, especially while serving the customers. We all have experienced it while using the platform as well. But at the same time, you mentioned that you have a team of less than 500 people, but Ixigo manages really well. So can I just know what are the kind of AI technologies that you have implemented within the team to make sure that the work is efficient and smooth?
It's a great question. See, I think AI is a horizontal enabler. It's not just about making our developers or technology guys more efficient, but even if you look at how our product design is done, how our marketing creatives are done, how our finance operation is run, we are using AI everywhere right now, not just in terms of LLM tools, but also building our own internal tools. For example, our customer support today uses a tool called OneView, where we use a lot of data to understand the customer query better and suggest the possible solutions to our agents so that they can solve those customer queries faster. We also use a lot of voice AI tools now. So last earnings call, we talked about hundreds of hours of our daily calls now being handled by AI agents. And that is going to improve over time as the handling capabilities of these technologies improve. Last year, we launched Ixigo Plan, which is a generative AI-based trip planning tool. That again has picked up very nicely. Tons of people have used it already to plan their itineraries. And I think we've always been sort of the kind of company that will pick up things that are emerging and quickly build solutions around them that can solve customer pain areas. And that's why, you'll see a lot of people talking about us word of mouth, because we've always deployed these at scale to millions of users as quickly as we can.
Coming back to your journey, so you are from IIT, you got a really amazing job outside the country. So what really excited you to get into entrepreneurship and give up, on that fancy job?
So we were working in France, and it was a 35-hour work week back there. I remember that whenever we wanted to do more, like even if I wanted to turn up over the weekend and contribute more, we were actually asked, why we came and worked on the weekend, because the culture was there very different in larger companies. They have they usually will give you something very small to do, and you cannot create enough impact. So we wanted to create more impact. That's why we left our jobs, and we wanted to do something for our nation, right? Come back and do something for the country. Because when we opened the newspapers in Europe, they were only talking about India and China all the time. So we were like, what are we doing here? Right. We should be back home building something for India, right? So that is something that led to it. And I think the key lesson in our story was we did not have any funding for almost 5 years. We bootstrapped for almost 5 years till we raised our Series A round. But we had huge belief in ourselves and huge belief in building something that customers want. And as long as you build something that customers want, they will come. And once they come, you will figure out how to monetize, right? So that is the only thing entrepreneurs should focus on. I think, viability, funding, revenues, all these things come later. But if you build something that people want, people will lap it up.
So, Ixigo is one of the startups that is aging like a fine, wine. So, what will be your, top three expert advice to the aspiring entrepreneurs? Because Ixigo, like you just mentioned, that raised funding after 5 years and the IPO thing also. But today, most of the startups are, running behind fundings, behind valuations and IPOs. So, what are your,
See, I think solving for customer experience and making sure your customers are happy should be the prime focus for every founder and their team, no matter what your scale is, right? I think many a times people look at funding as some kind of validation. Funding is like filling petrol in your car, right? It will only help you reach somewhere, but how you get there, what you do along the way, is something that will define whether you succeed or not, right? So it might give you enough runway for a few quarters, a few years, etc. But what you do during that period, are you going to blow up the money on things that do not improve the customer experience? Because if you do, then we've seen enough stories to figure out that that approach doesn't work. Capital as a moat playbook is dead unless you're building something very, very capex heavy. Capital as a moat playbook is already dead for internet tech startups.
Sure.
And I think more companies I have seen die because of excess as opposed to starvation. I think starvation builds muscle. Starvation builds the innate resilience to bounce back and do something amazing, right? Whereas if you have excess, you will always spend it on things that don't make any sense, right? So I think it's important to remain measured in where you are spending at all stages of the business and build a strong foundation, right? Because if you are solving the problem for the customer with a sustainable business model built around it, only then in the long term you will create shareholder value. Because if you're just doing it for vanity metrics, you will not have real product market fit, and you may believe you're succeeding, but the moment the tap runs dry, you'll be back on the same place where you were earlier. And to avoid that, just keep your eyes and ears on the ground. Don't go away from your customers. That's where the real value is.